Students, welcome aboard. We are about to get started with our 2022 herbal course. I want to thank everyone that is online. I'm trying to wait until we get a good number of people on here, so we'll find out, make some good responses here. The main students. The students that are a part of Shalom Health Institute group on Facebook, I would like for you guys to chime in. Okay, great. All right, we got at least 3 students already in. Before I start releasing all this information on the back of this board, I want to first welcome all of the students that are a part of the full-time course, as well as the part-time students. We have this set up in a totally different way this semester. We are focusing on endocrinology, mostly hormones, this semester based on herbal chemistry. I know that there are a lot of people that are prospective herbalists and would love to learn a lot more about herbology. And there are many forms and many different types of herbology. I mean, there are Western traditional herbology. You got those who are in the Caribbean. You got some Haitian herbalists. You have some shaman herbalists. You have some Chinese herbalists. And my background is mostly in chemistry. And I like to use the methods that I've used in school, as well as connecting the dots with just phytochemistry. So if you guys hear me say the word phyto, I'm talking about plants. You may hear me say phytotoxins, phytochemicals. Those are all different terms that I'm talking about plants. So hopefully you guys can hear me clearly online. You guys check in and make sure everybody's doing good. Today, I decided to do a bonus class. Now, every orientation, I usually add a bonus class in there. It's not really for homework, but it's there to help you further your knowledge on whatever we have the topic on. So today we're talking about plant toxins. But before we get into it, we have to go over the syllabus. Anybody that, great. If you're a student, you should already have your welcome letter. You should already have your syllabus there, and we're going to be talking about some things on a scheduled basis. You'll see that next week we are having a class on prostate health. It's going to share some remedies. This is the first males class. If you are a full-time student, you also will have homework, assignments, and experiments. If you're a part-time student, you don't really have an experiment. On February 20th, we have 2 classes. If you see the initial that says PR on it, that means it's pre-recorded. That class we are having on erectile dysfunction and solutions. And we are having our live class on women's hormone balancing. On February 27th, we are doing male pattern baldness. That will be our live class for the men. And the pre-recorded classes will be on dissolving fibroids naturally. All right, on March 6th, we are doing 2 live classes. You need to know that we are doing testosterone building, and we also have an experiment. For those ladies that are a part of the full-time course, you can do the experiment as well. You'll find out that you will be building up your testosterone, and you'll basically be able to indicate that by your sexual desires. Also on February 6th, we have our professor's assistant, Ms. Zephyr, will be teaching that class. It's on womb health. We'll be talking about menopause. She already did womb health part 1, and that was last year. Ms. Zephyr has been a professional assistant for the past 2 years. She graduated from Shalom Health Institute back in 2019, and now she helps out and teaches as well. I know you guys will enjoy that menopause class on Womb Health on March 6th. That will be our last class for the men, testosterone building. And 2 weeks after that, we will be having our exam. So on March 13th is our last class for the ladies, and it will be on postpartum genetics. And I really wanted to dig into that because of the ladies need to know what's happening after parturition, which is after childbirth. And those children can become, when they're grown, we still have some things going on in the system that needs to be eradicated. And I want to share a demonstration on that. So that there is our course syllabus, guys. And I know we're gonna be pretty working really fast. It's like every week we have 2 classes. So those who are full-time students, you got a lot of homework to do. So I will allow like 2 weeks for you to get your homework done. So no worries about that part, because we're gonna have full attendance. Homework assignments needs to be done, and your experiment needs to be done in order to receive your herbalist certificate. Now, I don't teach on the, I would say the normal professor's way, but I do incorporate a lot of terminology based on chemistry, and we'll be going in depth about certain sciences, certain systems that I think that's very important, so that you can be able to tell other people, and also help heal yourself. So I think we need to have some fun with this toxic plants, this plant toxins class. I've been waiting to teach this particular class because I think that we need to know what we need to do to keep safe. Like, I see a lot of herbalists out there that don't have a lot of training, but they've learned from other people or other, I would say, traditional folk herbalism. And I think they need to maybe know what a toxic load is. They need to know the difference between toxicity and what is poison. And there's different ranges. There's a whole lot of different ranges. And as I get into this, I had a couple of little props up here, as you see. I have a snake plant. Well, this is a snake plant. This is a peace lily. A peace lily and a snake plant. And we're going to be talking about all these different things, but I want to make this little part of the section about, I would say, the Church of Phytochemistry. And everybody knows this particular story. I'm going to play like I'm the serpent, and the lady's going to play like they're Eve, and all the men play like they're Adam right now. So the serpent asks, did God really just tell you that you shouldn't eat from this forbidden tree? You shouldn't eat from this forbidden tree because you would surely die. That's what the serpent told Eve. And Eve, seeing that the fruit was pleasing to her eye, and she went on ahead and ate it. She gave some to Adam, and he ate it too. And all of a sudden, they became awakened to the truth of good and evil, as they would say. But when they awakened, they noticed that they were naked, and they covered themselves with fig leaves. And I always wondered, why does everybody assume that this particular forbidden fruit is an apple? Why did they say it's an apple? When they covered themselves with fig leaves, you automatically would assume that, shouldn't it be a fig close by that tree? I would consider it to be a poisonous fig. And poisonous figs are found over there in the Mediterranean area. And if you've never seen a fig, this is what they look like. They have these pulpy, almost kind of like citrusly, but it's not really citrus. But they do have some poisons in there called phycin. And the phycin is known to cause inflammation It is known to cause blistering of the skin. A lot of inflammation will show up there. And when they say they became awakened, I look at that as being a light penetrating their skin and causing something called phytophotodermatitis. Phytophotodermatitis is basically a light sensitizing compound inside of the fig. They have the phycin right there, and also another phytotoxin in there called furocoumarins. So furocoumarins is also another burning sensation they will feel from that particular phytotoxin in that plant. And the reason why I'm bringing up this particular story is because I know that there's a number of toxicities going on, and we need to be aware, just like the fig tree or the fig fruit. The lime can do something similar. Like, it does have phycin in it, and if you were to do a lime bath in the sun, you would know that those long wavelengths from UV light, they can penetrate the skin and cause that issue. So this is what that would look like. So them putting that fig plant or that fig fruit in their mouths, they will get that type of sensitivities going on, that kind of reaction. And on their hands as well. That will last about 10 to 12 days. So as we get started, guys, like I said, the reason why we're doing this class is because we need to know how to stay safe. And the terminology that you'll hear a lot will be hepatotoxicity. I put this word up here so that you'll know that a lot of the herbs and plants, based on the dosage, because we know that there's different types of toxicities. So you'll hear me say things about hepatotoxic or acute hepatitis based on a particular overdose of a herb. All right, so also, just say for instance, if you know the difference between toxicity and poisonous, let's use beer for example. If I drank 2 beers, I would probably be mildly intoxicated. All right, but if I drank 2/5 of brandy or something like that, then I'm going to be poisoned. And there's ways that you can titrate or have a tolerance between those levels, but you need to be able to know the difference between mild toxicity, medium toxicity, high toxicity, and poison. Now, there are certain herbs out there that act as to remove alcohol poison, and those herbs are called emetics. So emetics basically will allow you to vomit. All right, they'll allow you to get rid of that poison. And I mean, there's a number of emetics herbs out there. Say for instance, lobelia, mistletoe. You got duck flower. You got there's a number of different emetics that are out there. And you'll hear other words like purgative as well. Those are laxatives. Those ones that are causing things like diarrhea or just flushing you out. And we already know a particular purgative would be Cascara sagrada or centerleaf. Those are definitely purgatives. All right. So it's all about the dosage. It is all about the dosage. So in pharmacology, you would know that a low dose would be named therapeutic, right? So a high dose would become toxic. So I don't think we should always take particular herbs in abundance, or even an extreme toxic small amount of herb can cause a big spike inside of the lab analysis. Like, I really have to check my herbs to make sure that they're not too toxic. You know, because I like to stick with the common herbs that we already know. But if you're using something rare, you need to have some type of certificate of analysis on that herb, because it can cause some damage like it has in other herbal stores. Like, I've done research on Chinese herbal stores. And this is a picture of one of their concoctions that was, it caused 2 people to die. If you went to San Francisco, there's an herbal store out there in San Francisco that in 2017 got shut down because of a herb called aconite. Aconite is a Chinese herb. It's definitely supposed to help you deal with pain. And they had acute hepatitis and was rushed to the hospital after drinking this tea. And it was a blend, and it just had a very raw strand of aconite in there, and it caused them to die. So I know that a lot of people can become harmed by herbs. So dosage always matters, and even though they thought that was a small dose, it still caused a lot of harm. So I just wanted to throw that in there because we're about to go into, if you think about it, like if you took a gram of holy basil, it wouldn't do much to you. It would basically give you some calming effects. But if you took 2 ounces of it, you're going to have some gastro distress, right? You're definitely going to have some gastro distress. So, I got a little story I get to tell you guys about the deadly nightshades. All right, so some people already know what nightshades are. The nightshade family, Solanaceae, is the botanical name. And we are eating a lot of toxic herbs and toxic plants that we may not even know that we're consuming. And some people have problems with nightshades and some people don't. If anybody knows a name of a nightshade, give me that name real quick. I just want to see if you guys are interacting and letting me know, what is a nightshade? What plant that you eat that today is a nightshade? You remember any nightshades? No. All right, so potatoes. Potatoes and tomatoes are definitely nightshade foods that we eat on a daily basis almost. Some people can't have tomatoes because of their gut lining won't allow them to consume it. Like tomatoes can cause GERD. It can cause heartburn, gastroesophageal reflux, and potatoes also can cause scurvy if you eat too many tomatoes. So you can't just live off of marinara sauce, ketchup. Also, I found that I have a nightshade up here. It's my little prop of a bell pepper. So you have the jalapeno peppers, the paprika peppers, all of your peppers are nightshades. Even your cayenne pepper. All right, so that could be a nightshade. Some people can't handle that nightshade. Not like I found that rheumatoid arthritis. This creates bad problems in your joints if you continue to eat bell peppers, any type of peppers. It's going to make an autoimmune response in their gut, and they can't really handle the peppers. All right, eggplant. Eggplant is another one. So we're talking about nightshades. There's a lot of different nightshades, but eggplants can create some gastrointestinal disorders. It can really make you bloat really badly. And you don't really want to consume too many of the eggplant if you are already having some problems with nightshades. They can cause nausea as well. Some people have broken out in rashes. And I really want to bring up this little story about Snow White. Everybody probably have seen the story of Snow White. And the Wicked Witch gave her an apple, right? She went to sleep off of that apple. She went into a deep sleep. And one of the theories is saying that she was hit with one of the belladonna atropine. This is the flower of belladonna. It has these little berries on it right there. And that berry has something called atropine. Atropine is known in today's time as a write this word up here, cholinergic drug. So that atropine that was actually extracted from that berry and injected into that apple, when Snow White bit that apple, she went into a drowsiness, deep sleep, almost comatose. And what happened was you had to have mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to wake her up, pretty much. But that is an anti-cholinergic drug that will put people into a sedative effect. And they use this right now in things like Valium, making people calm down. We've done neurophytochemistry classes before where we will use things for anxiety to keep us calm. This is more like an anti-seizure type of drug. So the atropine today is still being used from the belladonna plant. There's another story about a war. The Europeans came over to in Virginia. One of the wars that the Jimson weed. This is another form of Jimson weed. They used it as a salad, and they became very started hallucinating. Yeah, so this is one of the particular plants. The leaves can make you hallucinate. The berries can put you in a comatose stage. So I just want to let you guys know that we are still using some of the deadly nightshades, and that's where they get their name from, using belladonna and Jimson weed. So you guys would know, I want you guys to know about belladonna. We put it into different colors. So Jimson weed and belladonna. Those two plants are part of the nightshades, and they also have alkaloid. Now we know about alkaloid poisoning because we did a herbal chemistry class on alkaloid poisoning. And we figured out how to balance that out by using other saponins, using other tannins and flavonoids. Our body has the ability to adjust to alkaloids. And some of the carnivorous community doesn't like alkaloids because most of the alkaloids are found in the green leafy vegetable family, and they can be known to have calcium oxalates, this one right here, and they create these crystal metabolites in your kidneys. And I've done a video on YouTube about oxalates and pH balance. And the reason why these people are creating these kidney crystal stones is because they're not drinking enough water. Yes, we all accumulate oxalates in our system. We accumulate it from eating things like phytic acids from nuts and seeds. We accumulate them by eating beans and grains. So oxalates are there. They're definitely going to be there, but we have to be able to dissolve those things. And one of the best ways to help dissolve kidney stones or to get some of the phytates and phytic acid out of your system is to take more vitamin C. So citric acid breaks down, and ascorbic acid breaks down your stones. All right, so if you want to get rid of your calcium oxalates, add more vitamin C, drink more water. All right, that is the easiest way to look at that. So calcium oxalate, I brought in my snake plant because this has the highest amount of calcium oxalates out there, this can kill a dog if they bite into the leaves of the snake plant. Also, if you were to break it and feel the sap of it, it can definitely blister up your hands, cause a lot of inflammation. If a small child, you have to take them to the hospital if they put that in their mouth and swallow. It could definitely cause some gastro distress as well. So it does have a high amount of calcium oxalate, and those crystals can cause your mouth to probably look like that as well. Just be careful. There are a couple of houseplants like this that give a lot of oxygen to the atmosphere. They help clean the air, but the oxalates are what's the most damaging part of it. Now, the peace lily has a high amount of the oxalates, but this can do a different type of damage. I wanted to share with you guys about it doing vomiting. You definitely would be vomiting if you swallow one of the leaves. They're not damaging to the touch of it, but if you were to break one of the leaves, you can definitely feel the tingles that this particular peace lily would cause. It can cause diarrhea, but that is also another one that helps purify the air. So if you got any other houseplants out there, especially like pothos, a lot of people get the pothos in there. They also have English ivy. Those are some other ones that have a lot of oxalates. You may want to write these down because they help purify the air as well. English ivy. Pothos. Those are some other really good plants that also have some toxicity going on. So if you got any small animals, just be careful, just be careful. All right, so still going down the line for the green leafy vegetables. Thallium and cesium. Thallium is a heavy metal, and it is found in kale, watercress, your turnip greens, those big green leafy vegetables. I don't really like kale as much because those who are doing kale juices, kale smoothies, maybe having a kale salad every other day or every day, this can affect your nervous system. And especially in those hollow areas, your pelvic floor muscles, they can actually start to feel very irritated. And a woman, near the labia of her vagina, there will be an area that she feels like there is a yeast infection or a UTI has started because of the thallium. The thallium causes a condition called vulvodynia. I'm going to write that down so that you guys will know. Vulvodynia. It's caused by this heavy metal called thallium in kale. Now, that means it's also in watercress, it's also in turnips. Another thing that kale is, it is a goitrogen. Some of you guys already know about goitrogens. We talked about that in our thyroid class, impairing thyroid function. This does do that. It is a part of the brassica family. If you know anything about the brassica family, this is your broccoli, your cauliflower, your kale, your cabbage, your radishes are also goitrogens. They can cause a goiter on your thyroid. They impair the synthesis of your thyroid hormone. So this is for those who have hypothyroidism, do not eat these vegetables. Or any type of thyroid condition, you don't want to stop that synthesis of that hormone, okay? So that stops them from getting T3 to convert over into T4. All right, so I hope that's clear about the green leafy vegetables. I want you guys to diversify, really diversify your foods. Don't just eat one particular vegetable. Make sure that you're having a variety of it so that you can have good microbes that remember, that can recall, and then also be able to provide your vagus nerve, your gut to brain connection, be able to heal so you won't have brain fog. Next thing is the nuts and seeds. Now, nuts and seeds will carry a lot of phytic acid. Phytic acid can be beneficial, but it also can be a lot of toxicity as well. As I've known that nuts and seeds can increase your arginine levels. It can also increase your phytates as well. So phytates, they impair your ability to absorb iron. They impair your ability to absorb calcium and also zinc if you eat too much of it. So I always let people know we don't have the ability to be squirrels, you know. For the ladies out there that feel like they can eat trail mix while they're on their menstrual cycle, this is a bad idea. Okay, don't eat the trail mix or any type of nuts and seeds during your cycle because it's impairing your iron and your calcium. So there's a condition called premenstrual dysphoric disorder, PMDD. We'll be talking about that in our hormone balancing class. This is when you have those manic frustrations episodes and you're very emotional during your cycle because you're losing calcium and iron. And if you're going to continue to do that, you have a heavy load, a heavy toxicity load of phytic acids. You're going to impair your emotional your behavior right there. So I'm trying to teach people how to learn that food controls your mood, and this is one way that you can harm your emotional attitude during that time. So phytates and lectins usually go together because they are able to create some microscopic pinholes in your gut if you eat too many of them. So a lot of people are scared of lectins because of they could have leaky gut syndrome, they could have impaired gut lining, and it causes a lot of gastro distress right there. So be careful about eating so much phytates and lectins. They do have a way to balance it out once you eat more vitamin C. So that's the way you can take those things out. If you have low stomach acid, your zinc, your parietal cells need zinc in order to create more hydrochloric acid. So if you're dealing with GERD, if you're dealing with heartburn, don't consume too many nuts and seeds. Your almond milk and all of those different oat milks and just a lot of lectins and phytates are going to impair your zinc absorption. So keep that in mind, I want to go on to this word right here, cyanogenic glycosides. There are a lot of seeds that have the ability to fight cancer. Now, there's always going to be some benefits and there's always going to be some toxicity. So, like I said, we have to diversify. But this particular substance or compound is disguising the cyanide molecule. And a lot of times they will be found in apricot seeds. The apricot seeds have something called amygdalin, basically another form of laetrile. And laetrile is the compound of B17. So apricot seeds have that way, and I've shown many cancer patients how to make the seed milk. We've done it in class before, but laetrile is one of the particular substance that has been banned from the United States and also in Europe because they know this is a cancer fighter. So if you have these cyanogenic glycosides, they can also cause headaches. So your almonds have this. Another form of B15. Your walnuts have it. So if you're taking so much of the almonds, especially trail mix and things like that, you can end up with a headache. Apricot seeds. You can also get this from avocado seeds, apple seeds, Apple seeds also can fight cancer. And avocado seeds, or the pits, I would say. You can break those down, powder them down, and still be able to get some of that cyanogenic glycoside. But that's one of the good benefits, but don't eat too much of it, because we definitely don't want to cause problems having too much cyanide in your system. All right, so we're going into the beans and legumes. I'm a big fan of the beans. I like to have my chickpeas and lentils. That's one of my main dishes, but I can't eat it on a daily basis. Why? Because they can have a way to create some leaky gut syndrome. And if you're not eating enough glutamine, then you will also create some holes in your microvilli. And we're talking about the small little finger-like structures that are inside of your gut lining that makes you absorb. Those things can stick together if you're eating a lot of grains. And I'm gonna get to the grains in just a second, but there is a special phytochemical inside of the pinto beans and also inside of the black beans. Just wanted to make sure that I go over that with you guys. It's called PHA. So the chickpea has a lot of lectins, and the pinto bean, where can I write this? Pinto bean has something called PHA, which is a phytohemogluten, PHA. And it can cause your blood to clot. So a lot of people may not know that you got beans out there that can cause aggregation of red blood cells. And that's something really dangerous, especially if you have an autoimmune disease. And those who are dealing with Crohn's, which is autoimmune, celiac disease, they will also have issues with eating pinto beans, black beans, lentils. Those lectins really wreak havoc on their gut lining. On your worksheet, you have something called ligands. And you guys can do further research on ligands. I don't have the worksheet up here, but I didn't write it down, ligands up here. But I want you guys to further your research on how those particular phytotoxins can harm you. So before I get to the next one, I'm still sticking with the beans right now. We have the coffee bean. Everybody loves their caffeine. We know that is a phytotoxin as well. I've learned over the years that coffee can really disturb and dehydrate your hydrochloric acid. Now we need that stomach acid so that we won't develop GERD, but this is also dehydrating your kidneys as well. So caffeine is a phytotoxin long term for those who have been drinking it for 2 generations, that 10 years, 20 years. You have found out that you have an increased heart rate. You also have a high blood pressure situation, or your adrenals is not being able to release epinephrine like it should. So I find that caffeine being a phytotoxin, long term, caffeine in there can become addictive. So be careful with the coffee bean. But one of the most famous, deadliest beans out there is the castor bean. I sell some castor oil. I sell Jamaican black castor oil. And yes, the castor oil has this phytochemical called ricin. So ricin is definitely a deadly substance. There's been many deaths associated with the ricin. People have injected people with the phytotoxin, and they will die within about 8 days, and it will be untraceable. So I'm not trying to share with you guys on a way to kill somebody, but if a child has 2 of the beans and they swallow it, they can die within hours. If an adult swallows 8 of those beans, whether it's powdered down, hidden in a substance or something, ricin is very deadly. You guys can look up the research studies on it, see how many people have died. National Poison Control or the CDC have found out. But it inhibits the synthesis of proteins inside of your cell. So it doesn't allow things to be put together. You'll end up with your spleen not working, your kidneys will stop working, and then things will just start to shut off. So ricin, look that up as well. Ricin is a definitely deadly being. All right. So as we get through all of these different things, you guys, I really don't like grains. I hate grains. I don't like grains, and I'm gonna share with you guys. I've done 2 classes on toxic grains, and I think it's like a way for people not to be able to see it, because every time I do the class, it gets lost some kind of way. But the glyphosate, I said on one of my posts I was going to share with you guys how to get rid of glyphosate, how to remove it out of your system. The glyphosate is a carcinogen. It's a pesticide that is sprayed on all of the grains, your rice, your bread, your pasta, and we really got to know that this is a neurotoxin. It definitely stops transmission, not completely from your vagus nerve, but it destroys your neurotransmitters in your gut, creating brain fog. It can create cancer. There have been many cases about lymphomas created from glyphosate, and I just want people to be careful about using it. But there are ways that we can get rid of it. And one of the ways that I get rid of it is using sodium thiosulfate. This is also a good way to help those with sickle cell anemia. Sodium thiosulfate comes in these little, I'll just show you guys that you can take a teaspoon of it. It has these little granules, clear substances, and I would probably put just a teaspoon of it, and it will dissolve. It will dissolve in water, but it does not taste good. All right, so taking about 4 ounces and a teaspoon of that 3 times a day, as that dissolves, you can start adding probiotics to your system, because this is going to kill off all of your microflora, because you have other pesticides that's been on you as well, and the main thing that we're targeting is the glyphosate. So the sulfur takes out the glyphosate, and it goes through the kidneys. This is a way to get rid of that substance out of your body. So when you're using that, I've given that to a couple of clients before, but you don't want to be incorporating the grains back into your system. So as long as it takes 3 months to get glyphosate out of your system, and I would do this maybe for a day, then add some probiotics to my system, and then do it every 3 months. Don't eat any grains. Next thing about toxic grains is that they have a lot of lead, arsenic, and cadmium. These are heavy metals that really, they're the culprit of miscarriages. They slow down sperm motility, and I'm definitely going to be talking a little bit more about heavy metals within Shalom building class. You'll find that they're in our myostatin of our muscles. So lead, you don't want to consume too many grains, because they definitely have a lot of it in there. The next thing is aflatoxins. Aflatoxins are found on our peanuts or grains, because when they get ready to harvest all of these grains, they put them in these big old barrels, and they definitely create more bacteria. And that smaller bacteria is called mycotoxins. So I want people to just stay away from the grains altogether. They have a lot of things going on with it, and in this modern day society, it's not a good thing for our health. So next, we are talking about our fruit. Now, our fruits don't have so many toxins, but they also get penetrated with a lot of pesticides as well. But I really wanted to bring up the correlation of urushiol. This particular phytotoxin, urushiol, What they have in common is the cashews is a fruit, the mangoes is a fruit, and they also are cousin plants to the poison ivy. So poison ivy makes you break out in hives and rashes, but if you had a mango leaf, and I was trying to draw some mango leaves, but they don't look the same, but they are in the same family and they cause the same type of reaction. So the cashews also, and also pistachios, can cause that same reaction as well. So urushiol is one of those plants, phytotoxins in these fruits that you need to be aware of. And they are very, urushiol is like an oily substance that gets on you from the mango leaves and the poison ivy leaf. All right, so I put up here, you guys are always familiar with the Herbal Library on YouTube. Now, I've talked a lot about licorice root having a particular phytochemical in it. Let me make sure. This phytochemical, glyceric acid, I call it GA. I was trying to get the correct spelling for you guys, but it should be on your worksheet. I'm just going to call it GA. Can cause a lot of problems, guys. What I've learned about licorice root, you shouldn't be using it in abundance. It should be only used in small amounts to sweeten up your teas, and it can be used to get rid of H. pylori. All right, it can be used to get rid of stomach ulcers, but it does have some hepatotoxic effects, especially if you consume it in abundance. It can cause gastro distress. It can cause you to vomit. It can cause diarrhea as well. So, and it can really make your urine darker because hepatotoxicity means that it's going to come through your kidneys and cause some damage as well. So I don't want people to go overboard with the licorice roots. Those phytochemicals are not really well, it needs to be small amounts. All right, so where's my other paper? The wormwood, they have something called Dosage. Now I've seen somebody use wormwood on a person that was pregnant, and I was very concerned. I still am a warrior for people that may not know what they're doing with certain phytochemicals. I still like to try to intervene if I can, but Dosage can be used as a hallucinogen. It can cause a psychotropic effect, and it can be used to induce schizophrenia. So I don't want people to go overboard with this wormwood, even though the benefits is for getting rid of parasites. So yeah, it may get rid of the parasites, but if you use it too much, it is a part of my parasite cleanse, but I have to, bait it by the dose. Only the dose matters when it comes to toxicity or poison. So be careful with the wormwood. I have a lot more that I could have added here, but I wanted to go in on comfrey root. Comfrey root, I told people on the herb of the day that this will make your urine very dark. So let me see if I can spell it right. Pyrrolizidine alkaloids. So we already know what the alkaloids are. We talked about comfrey root a little bit in herbal chemistry class, but this is another way to become hepatotoxic. It can induce acute hepatitis. It can send you to the hospital if you ingest it. But this is a really good particular root that can be used for externally on your back or just any pain that you're going through. Trying to recover from a laceration or something like that, the comfrey root should be used. Well, you guys, these are what the licorice root looks like. I didn't get a chance to show it yet, but those are some of the herbs that we have. And here is the comfrey root. We use it as a powder, but we also just use it externally only. Yeah, so we don't really have homework on this particular subject, but I will start to ask questions in our final exam about what we talked about here. That's the reason why we have worksheets. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed about plant toxins and be aware of the levels of toxicity. And I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you guys. Bless.